Have you ever wondered, why does your blood pressure quietly rise every time the weather turns cold, even though you've been taking your medication, eating healthy, and staying active? That question takes me back to a patient I'll never forget. Mr. Harold, 72 years old. He's a meticulous man who lives with his wife in the northern suburbs of Illinois, where winter can stretch for 5 long months. Every day he tracked his blood pressure in a little notebook. He watched his salt intake. He walked every morning. He never missed a pill. But each year, when the cold crept in, his blood pressure numbers would quietly climb. Sometimes dangerously so. One winter morning, Harold showed up at my clinic with a worried look. "I'm doing everything right, so why is it still going up?" That's not just his question. It's a concern shared by so many older adults each time the seasons shift. Most of us think high blood pressure comes from salt, stress, or missed medication. But the truth is, cold weather can trigger subtle changes inside your body. Changes you may not notice until you feel dizzy, worn out, or see a sudden spike on the monitor. It's rarely one big mistake. More often, it's a handful of small habits, the kind we repeat every day when the temperature drops, without even thinking. And in today's video, I want to walk you through 6 common mistakes older adults make when the weather gets colder, and what you can do to keep your blood pressure steady all winter long. George, age 69, lives alone in eastern Pennsylvania. Come December, he practically goes into hibernation, keeping the curtains drawn, sealing the windows, and curling up by the heater with a hot cup of coffee. His son once joked, "Dad switches to winter survival mode anytime the temp drops below 50 degrees. At first glance, it sounds smart, avoiding cold drafts and staying safe, right? But after a full month of winter hiding, George started noticing troubling changes. A heavy head, poor sleep, irregular meals. And most concerning of all, his blood pressure crept up, despite sticking to the same diet and medication routine. So what happened? It turns out, the very thing he thought was protecting him was slowly working against him. Spending too much time indoors leads to reduced physical activity, muscle stiffness, poor circulation, and disrupted body rhythms, all of which put extra pressure on your blood vessels. On top of that, lack of natural sunlight lowers serotonin production, a key hormone for mood and sleep, making older adults more prone to anxiety, restlessness, and insomnia. And all of those are triggers for higher blood pressure. What you can do instead: you don't need to walk through snowstorms or brave freezing winds. Just keep your body gently moving every day, even inside your home. Open your curtains in the morning and let natural light into the room every 30 minutes. Stand up, stretch, roll your shoulders, or take a few steps around the house. If it's dry and not too cold, step out onto your porch or balcony for 5 and 10 minutes of fresh morning air. Who this is for? Older adults who don't have severe joint problems and can move around safely indoors who should be cautious. Anyone with balance issues or fall risk. Make sure to have support nearby when doing any movement. George's story is a gentle reminder. Avoiding the cold is smart, but staying still for too long may chill your health in another way, from the inside out. Linda, age 73, lives in Colorado, a place where winters are long, cold, and dry. She's always been meticulous about her health. Every pill, every meal, every step of her routine. But every time the temperature drops, her hydration habits freeze right along with the weather. Unlike in summer, she doesn't feel thirsty anymore. She sips just a few ounces with meals, partly to avoid nighttime bathroom trips, and partly because, well, she simply doesn't feel the urge to drink. After a few weeks of this, she began to feel a lingering fatigue, mild headaches, a slightly racing heart. When she checked her blood pressure, it had spiked despite no major changes to her diet or medication. Here's the thing. As we age, our sense of thirst naturally dulls, and in cold weather, the body sends even fewer signals, tricking us into thinking we don't need water. But your blood still needs enough fluid to flow easily. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker, circulation slows, and your heart has to work harder to pump it through your system. Over time, this silently, but steadily, raises your blood pressure. Simple fixes. Aim for 6 to 8 cups of water a day, even if you don't feel thirsty. Prioritize warm water or light herbal teas, caffeine-free and unsweetened. Use a measured water bottle to track your intake. Sip throughout the day instead of chugging large amounts all at once. Who should do this? Older adults with high blood pressure, no serious kidney issues, and no doctor-imposed fluid restrictions who should be cautious. Anyone being treated for heart failure or kidney disease. Talk to your doctor before increasing fluids. Sometimes the most powerful change comes from the smallest habits, because your blood pressure isn't just affected by what you eat, but also by what you don't drink. Franklin, age 76, lives in Michigan, where winter is more than a season. It's a 6-month background soundtrack. Every morning, he starts his day with a long, steaming, hot shower. To him, it's a ritual, a way to wake up his body and soothe the stiffness in his joints from the cold. But there was one thing he didn't notice at first. After every shower, he'd feel slightly dizzy stepping out of the bathroom. Sometimes his heart would race and his hands would tremble. And when he checked his blood pressure, it was unusually high. The reason? The water temperature. Taking very hot showers, especially in contrast to cold air, causes your blood vessels to rapidly dilate under the skin. Then, when you step out into cooler air, the vessels constrict again just as quickly. That sudden back and forth forces your heart to constantly readjust to keep your blood pressure stable. It creates a wave of internal pressure changes, increasing the risk of blood pressure spikes or even cardiovascular strain. On top of that, hot water can dry out your skin, disturb body temperature balance, and lead to dehydration, especially in older adults who may not notice these subtle effects right away. What you can do instead, stick with warm water, not exceeding 104 degrees 40 cuidas. Keep showers under 10 to 15 minutes. Make sure the bathroom is draft-free, with a non-slip mat. Dry off and dress warmly immediately after bathing to prevent sudden heat loss who should follow. This, older adults with high blood pressure, or those who often feel dizzy after standing or bathing, who should be extra cautious. Anyone with serious heart conditions. Avoid sudden temperature shifts and consider bathing during the warmest time of day. A hot shower might feel like a comfort, but if not done carefully, it can push your heart to work harder than it needs to. Warm is good, but too hot can silently burn away your blood pressure stability. Judith, age 70, lives in Minnesota, a place where winter doesn't just knock on the door, it seeps into the wooden floorboards. Every cold season, she turns to her favorite comfort foods, hearty chicken soup, salted meats, and her prized homemade pickled vegetables passed down from generations. When it's cold, she once smiled and told me, a little salt warms the belly. But just a few weeks into winter, she returned to the clinic feeling bloated, with mild swelling in her legs. And more importantly, her blood pressure had jumped noticeably, despite taking her medication regularly. The truth is, cold weather alters how we taste food. People often season heavier, crave savory comfort meals, or eat more processed or traditional foods, all of which can be high in sodium. For older adults, even a slight increase in salt intake, day after day, can quietly build up and put pressure on the arteries. Salt causes your body to retain water, which increases blood volume, and with it, blood pressure. What's tricky is how silently this process unfolds. No immediate symptoms, no warning signs, just a slow rise on the monitor each morning. What you can do instead: stick to light seasoning, using natural spices like garlic, ginger, onion, or pepper to boost flavor. Avoid pickles, salted meats, canned broths, and prepackaged seasoning mixes. Choose low-sodium soy sauce or fish sauce, and use only small amounts. Read food labels carefully and look for the low-sodium versions when available. Who should follow this? All older adults with a history of high blood pressure, or currently taking BP medications who should be extra cautious. Anyone with kidney or heart conditions. They should consult their doctor about their daily sodium limit, a single extra teaspoon of salt each day. Could be the very reason your blood pressure never seems to come down. Winter doesn't need bolder flavors. It needs wiser choices, so your heart doesn't have to work harder just to stay warm. Dennis, age 67, is a devoted reader who also enjoys catching the late-night news. Since retiring, his routine has shifted, especially in the winter months. With colder nights and quieter evenings, he often finds himself awake until nearly 1 a.m. "There's nothing much to do," he would say, "and the colder it gets, the harder it is to fall asleep. I just wait until I'm really tired." But lately, mornings have become difficult. He wakes up feeling groggy, with a heavy head, a racing heart, and sometimes lightheadedness when getting out of bed. His blood pressure? Strangely high in the mornings, even though his meals and medications haven't changed. So what's going on? Sleep isn't just rest. It's when your body resets blood pressure, heart rate, and hormone levels. When you consistently stay up past 11 p.m., you interrupt your body's natural recovery cycles. This leads to a rise in stress hormones like cortisol, which can make your heart beat faster and cause morning spikes in blood pressure. And during winter, with less sunlight exposure, our internal clock, circadian rhythm, gets confused, making it even harder to fall asleep at a healthy hour, trapping us in a loop of poor rest and rising pressure. What you can do instead: stick to a consistent bedtime, ideally before 10:30 p.m. Avoid screens, phones, TV, tablets, at least an hour before bed. Increase your exposure to natural light during the day, even just 15 minutes near a window. Try non-caffeinated herbal tea, or take a short warm shower before bed to help relax. Who should follow? This: older adults, especially those with morning blood pressure spikes or dizziness, upon waking, who should be extra cautious. Those with chronic sleep disorders. talk to a sleep specialist for a more personalized plan. A good night's sleep at the right time is one of the most powerful blood pressure medicines. And it doesn't come with side effects. Sometimes the best way to protect your heart in the winter is simply turning off the lights a little earlier each night. Marlene, 67, lives in a quiet town in the Midwest. Since her husband passed, she's done her best to keep her life steady, from her diet to her daily walks to her bedtime routine. But winter changed something. She started having trouble sleeping. Thinking the cold was the issue, she bought a space heater and placed it right next to her bed. She added another thick blanket. At first it felt cozy, but by morning she'd wake up exhausted, her heart racing, and her blood pressure unusually high. The culprit? The temperature in her bedroom. Many older adults assume that the warmer the better during winter nights. Others do the opposite, avoiding heaters to save on power or prevent dry skin, and end up sleeping in freezing cold rooms. Both are risky. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at regulating temperature. When the room is too cold, blood vessels constrict, and blood pressure can rise during sleep. When the room is too hot, the heart has to work harder to regulate body temperature, creating overnight strain on the cardiovascular system. The result? A tired body, an overworked heart, and elevated morning blood pressure that seems to come out of nowhere. What you can do instead: keep your bedroom temperature steady between 65–70 degrees and 18 to 21 degrees. Use light but warm blankets. Avoid piling on too many heavy layers. If using a heater, choose one with a thermostat control and keep it away from your bed. Make sure your room is draft-free, but still well ventilated. No cold air blowing directly on you. Who should follow this advice? Anyone who experiences morning blood pressure, spikes or fatigue after waking up who should be cautious. People with serious heart conditions. Consult a healthcare provider to determine the safest sleep temperature. Sleep is meant to heal. Not to make your body battle the thermostat. A quiet, comfortably warm room might just be the blood pressure remedy you never realized you needed. Robert, 71, is a retired high school teacher. During the warmer months, he's as reliable as the sunrise, waking early, taking a short walk in his backyard, eating breakfast on time, and never missing his morning medication. But come winter, his routine begins to unravel. He starts sleeping in until almost 9 a.m., skipping or delaying breakfast, taking his blood pressure meds later than usual, and avoiding sunlight altogether. "I'm retired. What's the rush? It's freezing. No need to wake up early just to suffer," he once told me with a chuckle. But within just a few weeks, his blood pressure readings became unpredictable. Some mornings were extremely high, others surprisingly low, leaving him dizzy and out of balance. He didn't realize it, but his body was slipping into a mild state of biological confusion. The culprit? An unstable daily rhythm. As we age, our bodies crave consistency. Your internal clock, known as your circadian rhythm, helps regulate everything from hormone production to sleep cycles and, yes, blood pressure. When you stay up late, sleep in, eat at odd hours, or delay medication, your body loses its sense of time. It no longer knows when the day begins, when it should digest food, or when to stabilize your vital signs. The result? Wild swings in blood pressure. and you may not even notice until you check the numbers. What you can do instead: stick to consistent wake-up times, meals, and medication schedules, even during winter. If it's too cold outside, start your morning indoors, stretch, do light movement, or just get dressed and open the curtains. Turn on bright lights in the morning to signal your brain that it's time to be awake and active. Who should follow this advice? Anyone over 60, especially those on blood pressure medication or with unstable morning readings who should be cautious. People with severe sleep disorders may benefit from additional guidance from a sleep specialist. It's not just the cold weather that throws off your blood pressure. It's the lazy clock inside your body when your routine falls apart. A little discipline each morning, even gentle, kind discipline, might just be the most powerful medicine for your heart this winter. When most people think about high blood pressure, they focus on the big culprits: salt, medication, or stress. But what many don't realize is this: high blood pressure rarely comes from one big mistake. It's the small, repeated habits, the things we overlook each day, that slowly wear down the heart. A forgotten glass of water, a late night, a heater placed too close to your bed. Individually, they seem harmless, but over time, they create a silent pressure that pushes your numbers out of control. The good news is, those same small things can also become your greatest solutions. You don't have to change the whole world. You just need to start small. Today, maybe it's standing up and walking around for 5 minutes every hour, or keeping a warm glass of water on your nightstand as a reminder to stay hydrated, or simply setting an alarm to wake up on time, even when it's still dark outside. These gentle acts of self-care can help steady your heart, ease your blood pressure, and most importantly, remind you that you are in control. So now, let me ask you, which of the 7 mistakes did you recognize in your own routine? Share your thoughts in the comments below. You might not just be helping yourself, but someone else who needs to know they're not alone in this journey. And if this video helped you, please pass it on to a loved one. They might be going through the same quiet struggles, and your small act of sharing could make all the difference. Important medical reminder. This video is intended for informational and motivational purposes only. If you're experiencing unusual symptoms like dizziness, chest pain, or uncontrollable blood pressure spikes, please visit a healthcare professional as soon as possible for personalized care. Stable blood pressure doesn't come from medication alone. It comes from understanding your body and taking small, consistent steps every single day. And the best time to begin is today.